My buddy is ready.
Okay, I'll make sure it's aiming at you more than me. And okay. What is going on, YouTube? This is Jim, back with another video, and today I am talking to you all about Xbox E3 2018. But I am not alone. I am joined by my lovely wife, Rachel. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Jim. How are you?
I am doing great. Thank you so much for joining me on this endeavor. It took me about 45 minutes to set up the camera and the microphone. So hopefully the picture quality is Viper Magic Gold. Now, we've been talking a little bit about E3 internally, but your idea, believe it or not, was actually to record a video to talk all about our predictions and our thoughts and our hopes and our dreams for everything 2018.
Yes, and we're going to start with Xbox because they're first.
They're the first, and this will be just on Xbox. We'll be doing another one on PlayStation and on Nintendo. And I say we, hopefully we, definitely me, maybe you. Before we get too much into 2018, let's talk a little bit about 2017. Now,
so let's briefly recap 2017, which for us, we were actually at E3.
Right.
But we did different things for the Xbox, the Microsoft press conference.
That's right. I was fortunate enough to go to FanFest.
Someone got a FanFest ticket and gave it to someone else.
This is true.
So someone went to the actual press event, which I'm sure was awesome.
It was great.
I went to the Microsoft store in California, which quite honestly, I think might have been the better of the two experiences.
Yeah, because you actually got to see an Xbox One X.
We had Ahmad Green show up after the press conference with an actual Xbox One X Scorpio edition. First one, we got to hold it, we got to take pictures, we took selfies, we looked at it, we touched it, we almost dropped it. That would be me because it was significantly heavier than I was anticipating.
That liquid cool, man. It's got a lot of heft.
So
yes,
I got to do that. That was pretty cool. And it was unique to being in California. Obviously, that didn't happen at every Microsoft store.
Right.
But for me, the actual experience at the Microsoft store for the press conference was not the greatest. There was a Forza race competition that they were trying to start at the same time, so people kept kind of blocking my view of the conference, and they were talking, and it was hard to get a real feel of what was going on, so I actually had to watch it later.
Right.
And then they kept interrupting to show a Forza race, which quite honestly, whatever, I can play that at home.
Right.
And I knew I had no chance at winning. So
my perspective, obviously a lot different. I was at the press conference, all eyes on our Lord and Savior, Phil Spencer. The hype was real, this giant 4K screen. Everything that they told me, I ate with a huge spoon. I loved it. I was drinking the Kool-Aid, bathing in a sea of millions of virgins. It was great.
We should have brought your Plays Better on Xbox One X sign for you.
Oh, right. Absolutely. Part of my swag bag. But looking back on it, I didn't make it through the entire one. And I do try to watch previous conferences prior to the next year's conference. Not just for videos, but just to kind of refresh my memory. There were a lot of promises that were made on that stage that did not deliver.
Not only did they not deliver at the time, some of them they still haven't delivered on. So I think we almost want to score the 2017 Microsoft press conference as to how well they delivered on what they promised.
Okay, so I don't have a line by line. I remember that they talked a lot of games. I think they had 40-something plus games on stage. They went long, as they said. It was only about 9 minutes over, but they did go longer than their traditional time frame.
So let's talk about the things that were bad.
Okay, real quick. They also... Oh, you want to talk about things that were bad first? Okay,
yeah.
And then end on the good.
And then end on the good.
Okay, bad.
Why the heck do I care about seeing a car? Oh, wait, that I can't even see because I'm not at the live press event? Come on.
Okay, yeah. So Microsoft, no surprise here, is really involved with Forza. Turn 10, obviously a Microsoft exclusive studio. They unveiled 2 years ago, they had the Ford GT. That's the one they brought down from the ceiling.
Yeah.
This year was the first ever unveil of some Porsche. World first, even the car nuts tuned in to watch the unveiling of some special Porsche, which turned out to be the cover car on Forza 7. Not the audience for that. They didn't get the hint last year. No one really cares about seeing a car.
Didn't
And
care then,
unfortunately,
still
they
don't
did
care.
it again. Unfortunately, they did it again. I will agree that was a negative, but
So it might have been cooler live,
it wasn't. It was so they were bright.
but it was bad.
The lights were so bright in the stage, you really couldn't see the car, and you knew it was behind the thing because it was just such a large thing. One side of the stage, if you recall, was dedicated to a piano. A guy played piano for a game. I don't recall the game, and the other side of the screen was for the car.
So we didn't necessarily know what the stage setup looked like. We didn't get that same feel
Yeah.
on TV. So
is that the only thing bad was a car?
no, that wasn't the only thing bad, but that was
right.
the one thing that I remember.
Spit them out if you got any other ones.
So what else? So they are launching brand new hardware.
Yes.
What are you going to get me to buy it with? What game do I have to have that plays better on Xbox One X?
And I think that was the real tale of that press conference was they were trying to explain to the fans how important everything was with the Xbox One X, how it played better. A large portion of the show was dedicated to third-party titles that played better on X. The one they highlighted the most, Assassin's Creed Origins, which does look great. I'm not going to dispute that it looks great. Doesn't look as good as a PlayStation exclusive game like God of War or Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yep,
and
exactly.
The emphasis on they really dug deep into their third party exclusives.
But they weren't exclusives per
Well,
se.
not exclusive. The Xbox. Okay, not exclusives. Enhanced. The Xbox One Enhanced. That's what they call it. So it runs in native 4K instead of checkerboard. It's got 8x anti-aliasing instead of 4. It's got HDR instead of non-HDR.
So most people can't tell the difference between a lot of that stuff.
Right.
So when you're trying to appeal to a massive audience,
Keep it simple.
keep it simple. Tell us what is going to make me go out and buy this other than the fact that I want the latest and greatest.
Well, that's
So-
the thing.
So we announced PUBG, right?
Okay, so some of the games they had there was PUBG.
So we're talking Xbox exclusives that were coming for launch. We got PUBG, right?
PUBG they announced Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves.
Crackdown 3, Metro Exodus, State of Decay 2. Those were the big ones. Those are like the big home runs.
Yes, those were the games that
There were some other ones, Super Lucky's Tale and some other ancillary indie titles that were Xbox first.
Cuphead
was a big one, but that had been beat to death.
Yeah.
But yes, and all those games looked okay, but as we find out now, not a lot of them delivered.
Yes. So Cuphead, is there a real big difference between playing it on the X and the
In terms of
the
them
S?
trying to sell the X,
No.
the S, or the One, absolutely not.
So PUBG. Let's take a few minutes and talk about PUBG.
350 hours and counting.
Xbox One X players, sorry, you got a bum deal. The game is broken.
The game is broken.
Has been broken since launch. Still is broken.
Yeah, the frame rate is very, very poor. They did say it was an early launch. Microsoft has really started this not indie, but this alpha, first look, beta kind of.
Oh, another one of my favorite things. Let me buy a game that you need me to still beta test for you while I've paid for this game. Thank you.
I have to defend. I'm going to disagree with you on that because that is a very common thing in the computer world. A lot of common games, PUBG was one of them when it was on computer, come out in early access. The idea is you fund the game, you help shape it through comments. The developers listen more often, and they shape it. Now, whether you like it or not, that's fine. But
I think it's time to wave the flag, guys.
Xbox, well, I disagree because I think that it's a good service, and you don't have to buy into it. But they're not hiding it from you that the game is broken and unfinished. They're not hiding it. They're very, very clear. As a matter of fact, when you go to buy the game, there's an additional confirmation screen you have to click before you purchase it. So I have to give Xbox points. I disagree. To me, that's a strength that they're expanding beyond the traditional scopes of pure console gaming.
So, and I think that's a weakness because now you have a game that you've paid for that's barely playable. So,
Well, you could see it both ways, but
we will agree to disagree on this one.
the other games that Microsoft had...
Crackdown 3, how's that game going?
Crackdown 3 hasn't made it yet. It's still delayed. It doesn't look very good. Sea of Thieves, I'm on the outskirts. I thought that game was going to be garbage. I absolutely adored it. I played so much of it with my friends. I love that game. A lot of people don't. There's no content, whatever. I love Sea of Thieves. I think it's amazing. So they delivered to me, and that's a positive for me.
Sea of Thieves is a multiplayer game. It's pretty much what you thought it was going to be. There were no big surprises.
Nope.
It probably needs some additional content,
Which they're working on.
so they're working on it.
But they were very clear. Listen, this is just the shell. We are going to expand, kind of like what Destiny did, kind of.
But what does that is that really enhanced on the X?
It does look better on the X, especially with the draw distance. But again, to go back to the original beef of the conference, no, the Xbox One X isn't a jaw-dropping, oh my god. But there really isn't any game that really fits that bill. They're all minor things that if you are into the high-end stuff, you notice. But it's not something that I feel is like you have to have.
Yes, agreed. So State of Decay, we're gonna withhold judgment on that one.
Yep, it just came out today.
It just came out
and we're
today,
gonna check
so
it out
we haven't
the next day or two.
We haven't gotten the opportunity
And I will
to
get back
do
to you
some
guys
real.
on that. I doubt Rachel will. I will come back and tell you all about my thoughts on that one. I'm very curious.
So again, I just didn't see them selling
Right.
why I have to have the Xbox One X.
So we agree on the negatives. On the positives, I love the content of the games that they had was good. I thought they did a good job of selling what the hardware was without being overly droning, boring of the guy on stage for 2 hours giving tech specs. They kept peppering it with gameplay. They talked about it. They go back to games. They talk about it, go back to games. They seem to have a much better relationship with indies than they did in the past, which is something that I like. A lot of independent developers have been very vocal that Xbox are tyrants and they're very hard to work with. And it seems like the idea Xbox program has really kind of drawn that back in. So I'm happy to see games like Cuphead and some of these other games that probably wouldn't have had a chance anywhere else really starting to cultivate an Xbox. And part of that is your beloved early look, but I'll tell you that it does work.
I have no problem with an early look. Mm-hmm. What I have a problem with is being charged for an early look.
Gotcha. Other positive things, they announced major backward compatibility for the original Xbox games, which I thought backward compatibility was stupid, but as I've played more and gotten into Gamepass, I love it.
I was going to say, they announced Gamepass.
Gamepass was great.
Gamepass was something that I was very much on the fence about.
Right.
But when they changed it such that Xbox exclusive games come out on that for free, that suddenly made it a much better deal than it was initially talked about.
Absolutely.
So to me, Game Pass, while I don't believe that they actually announced that at E3, I believe that came later, that Xbox exclusive games were going to launch on that.
Yes.
I believe that was a later announcement, but since we are judging E3 2017 today, that makes it a win.
Yeah, so overall, if I had to give it any kind of score, I would say more favorable than negative. I don't remember what I gave it the first time. Probably a 10 because it was my first real-life press conference. They did things good, they did things bad, but I think they did more good than bad.
So I was probably neutral. Mm-hmm. I still have some concerns. One of my big ones is with Xbox, game developers now have 3 different specs to code to.
Yes.
I am concerned about what that means for the future of the Xbox consoles.
Yes, you're starting to see a fall off on that. You're starting to see major performance issues, especially with the early looks that I've seen online of State of Decay 2. The anti-aliasing, the jittering in the background is almost unplayable on the original hardware, and it's almost designed for the X, slightly scaled down for the S, and if you have an original Xbox, good luck.
So, and that's one of the things
that's frustrating.
That's one of the things that I was worried about, because hardware is hardware, but software isn't, and it's very hard to make the same piece of software work on 3 different pieces of hardware, and that was what Xbox pretty much promised at the E3 conference, and that worried me.
Yeah, Phil Spencer, very clearly a hardware guy, very clearly brought in to fix the mistakes of Don Matrick, which today, by the way, is the 5-year anniversary of the Don Matrick Connect presentation, which almost tanked that company. But Phil Spencer's goal was to come in and fix hardware first and foremost. He's totally done that with the X. You play PlayStation 4, that thing sounds obnoxiously loud.
Yep.
You play the Xbox One X, it is completely silent. It is not hot. Instant load times, never crashes. Got the Pro controller. It's got it all. It really does.
It was also how much more?
I think an extra
150.
I think. Well, from the Pro controller, yeah. I think from the Pro to the X, I think it's $150 difference.
So for $150,
You're getting it though. I don't see true 4K. It looks amazing. On that, yeah, I won't budge on that.
But it's $150. What else could PlayStation have done if they had marked their hardware up $150 more? So
added a Blu-ray player.
Oh.
Anyways,
so that to me is kind of the recap of the 2017 E3.
So moving on to what we want to see from 2018, there's been a lot of leaks that have come out. We're not going to talk about all of them. Some of them may be real. Some of them may not be real.
So let's start with hardware. What do you think? What do you think Xbox needs to show us from a hardware perspective this year?
What I want to see from an Xbox perspective, Xbox firmly grounded in the Microsoft world of software, firmly grounded in this now 3 generations, as we talked about, the original, the S, the X. For their first party titles, they want to really impress people.
No, I'm asking for hardware.
I'm telling you what I
Okay.
want to see. For their first party software titles, what I want to see is adjustable presentation so that each set of hardware you can tweak what you want to see. A slider, better frame rate, better resolution. Understand on the original console that you may have more trade-offs, but give me that flexibility. The hardware can support that. They're not doing it. If they want to start this mid-console generation thing, let the first-party titles. I know Ubisoft and all those guys aren't going to play ball, but on your Cupheads, on your Sea of Thieves, on your Crackdown, give me that option. To me, that would really set them apart from PlayStation, and it would really make me feel, as a guy who's still got the original Xbox One sitting over there as my Forza racing station, I would feel much more in control if I could do that. That is the number one thing they need to do on their hardware.
So and PlayStation does that a little bit with their Pro on some of their first party games.
Limited, you get an option between. Yes.
You get limited options.
I want to see that blown out.
Yep.
I want to see aliasing, shadow, rendering, all that. Everything I see in a computer, you put on that console, and I guarantee you, people who have older consoles or newer consoles will get much different experiences. Some people prefer 4K over frame rate. Give us that control.
Yeah.
If they do something like that, people would go bananas.
And you can set those menus such that you're only able to select up to a certain amount of processing power.
Sure,
So that
of course.
That's great. Yeah. So what do I want to see from a hardware perspective?
What do you want to see?
I think Xbox has, they've pretty much got the hardware on lockdown. The
I
only
agree.
thing that I would like to see is some new limited edition controllers. Seeing as how we collect them, I like to see a new one come out. 2 years ago, it was the Minecraft controllers. Last year, we got the Sea of Thieves controller. So show me a new controller. And I would be shocked if they don't show me a new controller.
Ready to add to the
I
collection.
am ready to add to the cart.
So I think we could agree from a hardware perspective, they've nailed it.
Yep.
Which obviously leads us to the elephant in the room that we already talked about, their first-party titles, which continue to disappoint or don't exist at all.
Or be delayed. So for me, it's all about the games. What are you going to get that I have to have? Make me want something right now. And I personally am a big fan of new IPs. Yeah, I know they're not all winners. They're not all great.
Right.
But
Gotta try.
you got to try something, and they can be great.
You know, people. I was talking to Ben today about this, a friend from work, and I was telling him we were going to do this video, and him and I were laughing because people didn't buy the Wii for the Wiimote. People bought Wii for bowling. That's why
Yep.
people bought. It was fun. So games don't sell hardware.
No.
Games sell hardware, not the other way. Hardware does not sell
Hardware
games.
does not sell itself.
Yes, the Xbox One X on paper, a monster.
Absolutely.
Absolutely
But
insane.
if you've already got an Xbox console,
Right.
you're not going to go buy another one for the most part until they show you something that makes you go, wow, I got to have blank and I got to play it at the best possible way.
And if they code things to Unity, you're going to get that built-in scaling, which is a really nice feature. As a lot of games do that, where I feel like my idea of the slider could be realistic. I would like to see... They need to expand beyond the traditional Forza, Gears, Halo. That's like their go-to.
Yep.
You know, it's weird that they had Scalebound, that they canceled it. It's weird that there are a lot of games like Crackdown, which initially was hyped up to use the power of the cloud, which vanished, fine. All these Kinect features vanished, fine. But the scope of that game has decreased drastically. So it's almost like the Microsoft advertising team isn't on the same level of their development team, and they're like sending two different messages.
And so let's talk about, I get it, there are big games, there are AAA games.
Right.
Not every game has to be that.
No, and that's...
Find a little game that's maybe a more budget game that Microsoft can turn out, because their AAA games, quite honestly, are taking them too long to get out.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Cuphead, and that game was in, I would almost argue, development hell for a very long time. Thankfully, that one did pan out to be a winner. But that game, the original concept was great. Release it. They waited, I think, 3 or 4 E3s. We kept seeing more and more and redefining and polishing and polishing. Sometimes it's just send it out. Don't send it out with bugs, but just get the idea out there. You got to have that constant hit. And that's where I feel you're right. They do fall apart.
Look, people are expecting DLC for games now.
Right. Unfortunately, that's the
I mean, that is where we are right now.
That's the world we live in.
So, drop us a game for $20 or $40 that's a little bit shorter.
Yeah.
And know that you're going to have DLC. But get some games out there that people want to play, that people can be excited about. That's what we need, Microsoft.
I agree. I think the big problem with Microsoft, if you look through their history, and this generation's no different, when you try to compare a Microsoft franchise to a PlayStation franchise, Microsoft doesn't seem to give their franchises time to grow. If you look at some of the older games, we'll use Uncharted as an example. I really liked Uncharted 1 for what it was. Mm-hmm. It wasn't perfect, but they made Uncharted 2, and it was significantly better. Better set pieces, better action, better mechanics.
But it was the same general concept, which people were excited about.
They cultivated the idea and made it better. You look at ReCore, the same thing. Microsoft announced ReCore. The trailer came out, everyone was oohed and awed. The game came out. It's not the best. It's okay. It's kind of like a rhythm shooter at best. The graphics are okay. The story's okay. It's not perfect in any stretch of the imagination, but it's a cool concept. But there's no talk of a ReCore 2. Now, if they do one, I'd be shocked. But they just say, oh, it wasn't an instant hit. It didn't sell 50 billion copies. Cut the funding, move on. So they can't do that. So
there's a reason that PlayStation owns 70% of the market share.
Yes.
And it's the games.
Yes.
It is not the hardware.
No, definitely not the hardware.
There is no one who is watching this or who knows anything about the Microsoft PlayStation split that will say that PlayStation has better hardware.
No, they're definitely...
The specs are out there.
The controllers, the
everything
experience,
about Microsoft's hardware is better.
The updates, the online features, the capabilities, all subpar to Xbox, 100%. But they got the games.
If I had to pick one of the two consoles to get,
Sony Pony, baby.
I'm picking Sony because they have better games. And most of the games that I'm interested in, I can play on, if I can play them on both consoles, then there's no reason for me to have the Xbox when PlayStation has better games. So
overall, their first party games are significantly better. So, yeah.
Give me games I want, please.
What scares me is Microsoft has been, and Phil Spencer has said numerous times on Twitter, and Aaron Greenberg and Major Nelson have all spun this message of, hey, these things take time. You got to be patient. And I feel like Microsoft was very linear in their hardware approach, and they took a very broken experience with the Kinect, and they got rid of it, and they morphed it into the S and morphed it into the X and made an extremely awesome piece of hardware. While they were doing that, though, it seemed like they were so focused on that. I don't know what their software engineers were up to, because the UI in the Xbox One X is trash. Nobody likes it. So they weren't working on that. I don't know what they were doing. But what worries me is you have this great hardware, and now it's like, is there a lull? Like, are they like, hey, we're not going to start developing games until I can buy one at the store? Because I don't want to mess with the specs. I don't know.
And again, we all know for most development times, you need about 3 years.
God of War took 5 years, they said. 5 years to put together.
So you need a good at least 3 years,
Yes.
possibly 5.
Or more.
But
do it.
but
You got to start.
You got to have something. You got to have some stuff come out, even if it's shorter experiences.
I agree.
Bring them out. Make people excited about playing Xbox games again, because right now there's nothing out there. And Microsoft has an opportunity with this year's E3 press conferences to win.
They do.
They
have a solid shot. They have a foundation. That hardware speaks for itself.
The hardware's there. You've got the Elite controller at a reasonable price.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's
put it to work.
Let's use it.
I absolutely agree 100% with you. I think Microsoft is in a very interesting situation. Now, with PlayStation announcing today that end of cycle on this is the first time this has ever happened. This is very interesting to me. PlayStation today announced 2021 they're pulling the plug on PlayStation 4 support, which doesn't mean like they're going to stop it. That means they have a roadmap through 2021. So in other words, late 2021, 2022, PlayStation 5 is coming. So they're telling you the writing's on the wall.
Yep.
Now, Microsoft comes out and they say, you know what? We don't need any new hardware. We have it. We have the S. We have the X. This is the future. We don't need to worry about any new hardware. PlayStation, you guys want to go off and make new hardware? Whatever, bye. We don't need to. We got amazing stuff right now, and we're going to put it to work. That's where I feel they can really take the advantage if they have stuff ready to show. But they need to start locking up some of those really exciting things, because what's going to happen, as happens a lot with Nintendo in particular, especially the Wii U, where they send that system out to pasture well before it's due because it's not selling well, and they're like, oh, we'll get it on the next one. They can't do that now. I don't think they have that much good faith left in Microsoft as a company to do that. I think they shouldn't write this generation off. This should be the ramp up of like, hey, we're not done yet. And now with the hardware stuff out of the way, we're going to show you software that you haven't seen. It's not going to be enhanced stuff. It's going to be brand new from our engineers who built this. They can push this thing in ways you haven't seen.
I mean, look.
That's what we need to see.
Halo 5 came out, 2 years ago? And there's been no talk about the next Halo game.
3 years ago, maybe. Wow, when did it come out?
There's been no talk.
They
haven't even teased it. So,
but I'm okay with them taking time to cultivate a Halo game if it's going to... Halo underperformed massively, critical failure on every level, except for mine. I loved it. Again, I'm the outlier. But no, you're right.
But you don't have to do much, but let us know you're working on it.
Show us something.
Give us something to look forward to of your established IPs.
There needs to be a wow moment at Xbox, and I can honestly say in the last few years, for me personally, I can't think of anything that just made me like my face melt. Like when PlayStation announced the Final Fantasy VII remake, that place went absolutely bonkers. Shadow of the Colossus, I cried.
So let's talk about
where's the Xbox moment?
So let's talk about what Microsoft shouldn't do. Please, please do not get exclusive content for Call of Duty or Battlefield. It's been done. It's been done.
Call of Duty's already
done.
Call of Duty's already showed up with PlayStation. Battlefield, I don't know yet.
Right now they are, but that doesn't mean that they aren't. They are next year or the year after. But please don't do that. It's been done, and quite honestly,
Oh, you're so wrong. I can't even tell you how wrong you are. I can't. I disagree. No way. You have to get exclusives. You have to show them this is the place to play. You have to. And you have to get the games people are playing.
But
how much money did PlayStation lose on that Destiny deal?
Yeah, but
sucks.
But Call of Duty hasn't done anything new in
so
long.
The Battle Royale mode coming out this year, multiplayer only.
Oh, yeah, multiplayer only. Great, so you're going to sell me half of a game this year instead of the full game I could have gotten last year.
You can be a first-person shooter hater, but that Elite, that Xbox Elite controller is meant for FPS. Period.
Again, I'm not saying that Call of Duty has not turned out a very polished first-person shooter. What I'm saying is that they haven't done anything new or innovative in a very long time.
That's not an Xbox problem. I think Xbox shoring up exclusives like PlayStation did in those years before God of War, before Detroit 2 Human, before all these games that have finally been in the pot for years cooking, all those years passed. PlayStation's like, hey, you want to play Arkham Knight on PlayStation? We got exclusive maps. You want to play Destiny on PlayStation? You want to play Assassin's Creed on PlayStation? You want to play Call of Duty on PlayStation? So to me, Microsoft needs to do that too. And I'm not talking stupid crap like Tomb Raider. Don't give me exclusives where you can only play it here first because everybody knows it's coming out later. Everybody gets the game the same day, but if you get it on Xbox, you get this. That's how you win people back. Because everybody's going to get Call of Duty, whether you love it or hate it. It's the best-selling game. It's been the best-selling game since the beginning of time. Now, maybe this year it might not with the whole multiplayer thing. We'll see what happens. But you have to put your money out there, and you need to grab these things because that's what people are drawing attention to. You have a separate press conference for Call of Duty on Twitch. Millions of people watching it. People are invested. And then the guy comes out and says, and the best place to play is on PlayStation 4. And everyone's like, oh, okay, well, I'm getting a PlayStation 4. That's how you get the hype. And you want to see the world premiere of the new Battle Royale mode? I'll see you at the PlayStation stage. Microsoft needs to do that for something that matters. My opinion. I could be wrong.
I agree. You're right. They need to do it for something that matters.
I knew you were going to say that.
And it's not that game.
Ah, you're so wrong. So we agree they need to shore up some exclusive deals. I'm not talking release like, first on Xbox. I'm talking legit something that
exclusive, something that makes me want to play it on Xbox.
Yes, I agree. We need to see more frequent, smaller first-party adventures, titles, experiences. We need to see something first-party that really wows us.
There's a reason that they have pricing tiers on games. Everybody knows when you buy a $20 game or a $30 game or a $40 game, it's not the same as a $60 game.
Your over-the-top, wow, even if it's unrealistic, dream moment is what? It could be unrealistic. It could be emerging. It could be, hey, we're announcing God of War 2 as an Xbox exclusive. It could be that. Oh my God, your face melts.
For me, it's just wow me with new IP after new IP.
So
give me puzzle games. I want games. That's what E3 is. Show me the games. When PlayStation does a conference and they just cycle through game after game after game after game, yeah, I got it. They're not all AAA titles.
Yeah. But Xbox did that last year too with the 30, 40 plus titles.
Yeah, but none of them grabbed you. None of them grabbed me. None of them made me go, oh my gosh, when is that coming out? And how do I pre-order it right now?
You are right. There are no wow moments, and it's sad that the biggest thing you look forward to is what the conference is intended to be, a showcase of gaming. It's sad when you could say, oh, that's the thing I need to see, is more of the thing that you're supposed to show me. Yep. I agree with you.
So that's what I want. What about you?
Wow moment, unrealistic hype moment, times a million. I've told a lot of my friends this. I don't know if I've told you this. You replay the the Halo 5 Guardians trailer. The one where it's got to do with Metal Gear, okay? Spoilers. It's Master Chief walking through the desert with the hood. Everyone's like, we've seen this already. He pulls the hood off, you reveal his helmet, because that's how Halo 5 Guardians was demoed. Then the camera pans around, he looks at the camera, he says, kept you waiting, huh? And it says Metal Gear Solid 6 X Hideo Kojima. So Kojima involved with a solid Halo game. Did I say Metal Gear?
You've said Halo, you said Metal Gear. I have no idea. I have no idea
what you're talking about. I'm so hyped for this. In my head, okay, the helmet comes off, it says Halo 6 X Hideo Kojima. That's what I want it to be. And Hideo Kojima comes out on stage, preferably with Gabe Newell, and says, listen, guys, have I got an announcement for you? Halo 6 is going to be developed by me. We're taking Solid Snake. We're taking Master Chief to a whole new level. And then on the way off the stage, I'm already crying. I'm freaking out. Gabe Newell's out there with him. As Gabe Newell walks off stage because Kojima needs a translator, Gabe Newell translates for him. Out of Gabe Newell's back pocket falls Half-Life 3. And he picks it up, and it says Xbox One exclusive. He's like, oh, I didn't mean to show you this yet. And then that's the only teaser. And then everybody loses their minds. You got Kojima, Halo 6, and Halo 3, Half-Life 3. To me, it would be amazing. Now, obviously, none of that's going to happen.
But
that's my oh my god, like, just make a fantasy story.
I would love to see a Halo fighting game.
You mentioned this.
I would love to see a Halo fighting game. It can be done. Why hasn't it been done?
I would, as you know, a Halo super fan, being realistic on what I would like to see hype, I would like to see a grounded Halo game with, doesn't necessarily have to be with Master Chief. I'd like it to be. If you want to pause that story with the whole Cortana and Guardians thing, and we'll pick it up later, that's fine. I think the Halo universe is massive. There are a lot of other stories in the books that could really be done very, very well that would lend themselves to really good shooters. And I would love another really good shooter that I could sink my teeth into, that I could dive into on that sweet Elite controller. Obviously, new IP, of course, would be great. I think a more realistic, hopeful announcement, if it isn't game-related, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I would love to see Game Pass and Xbox Live become one.
So a discounted...
Yeah.
A discounted...
Because I'm going to buy them both.
For those people, a bundle, if you will.
Yeah, I would like to see that. Or go wild and drop Live altogether and say it's only going to be Game Pass. Do something... I'm not saying that Microsoft is going to fold tomorrow. They're a giant company. They're doing very well for themselves. I have no doubt of this.
Windows, pretty much.
Yeah. But Windows is definitely helping them out in all the Office products that they have. But Microsoft needs to do something that's a wow, oh my God, I can't believe they did that moment. You had the backward compatibility, which at the time wasn't very well received because it was stuff you kind of already had. That was fun. Well, but I want them to take that original idea, but forward project it into something I don't yet have.
So backwards compatibility also was not well explained either.
It kind of was, but it wasn't really until the X came out that they started talking about games being enhanced. They showed off a lot of original Xbox games like Elder Scrolls Morrowind, where they did a side-by-side comparison. It wasn't even Xbox. It was the guys at Digital Foundry, which they are kind of shills for Xbox now. They were the ones that had the exclusive hardware reveal. But it wasn't until you saw a side-by-side comparison of the draw distance and the 4K and the 60 frames a second, you're like, whoa, I would play that again.
But
they didn't sell that.
They didn't talk. They didn't do that overlay. No. All they said was, if you already own this game, you'll be able to play it.
Yeah.
Well, who really wants to go back and buy an original Xbox game in this day and age if you can even find it?
Right. No, I agree.
So that's where I think they missed out. Had they done that kind of at the same time they were doing Game Pass, or even said, hey, Game Pass is in the works, you could have gotten a lot more excited. Then you fold the enhancements in on that, and some of the games become almost like a new game.
Oh, yeah. Like Red Dead Redemption is... it looks so different on X than it did on the PlayStation 3 or the 360. Morrowind, there's a lot of original... even a lot of the original Xbox games like KOTOR and that kind of stuff where it's like, whoa, like, this looks so good. I want to play it. Stuff I haven't played or haven't played in so long, either way, that it's like, that would get me excited.
So give us the full story.
Right.
Because some of us are not great at putting things like that together. Yeah,
and the truth is, press conferences need to be simple, wow, exciting, pop, oh my God, I have to have this. And you're right, that goes back to that wow moment. I think they've cemented as much as they can do on the hardware perspective.
Make me feel it. Make me want it.
I think to me, that's
tug at the heartstrings, because that's what I need.
Give us Yarny. Give us Yarny. The guy's on stage, his hands are shaking. It's like, you know what? I support this guy.
And he is so excited about what he's telling you about.
Right.
He loves it.
In his bones.
Need that.
I need that too.
I want that excitement for the Xbox.
I agree.
I don't have it right now, but I'm optimistic that they can get there this year.
I would say that this press conference is very pivotal for Microsoft, and I feel like this will really cement the last few years of Phil Spencer's hard work on the hardware side. If at the end they start dropping bombs of how great things are, then you could look back and say, okay, there was a vision here. Clearly, the guy wanted to get his house in order before he really showed us the way things needed to be.
I'm okay with you showing me games
And I'd be okay with that.
that are 2 years out.
Yeah, me too.
Start getting me hype.
Just show us the
Start the hype train today.
Choo choo. How
I'm
about...
ready. We're all ready to jump aboard.
Clearly, you look at the Metroid reveal. It wasn't even a reveal. The last
No.
Nintendo Direct. It says Metroid Prime. And everyone's like, oh my God. They just played a little bit of the sound effects, and that was it.
Yeah.
Metroid Prime, period. Just show me a title. Just something.
Get the hype train started.
I agree. So, anything else in closing? You said it all?
I'm ready.
My body is
My
ready.
body is
My
ready.
body is ready.
My
Phil.
body is ready for E3 2018.
I want Microsoft to play dirty and play hard as if this is their last hurrah. It's not.
Give me games.
Give me games. I agree. Make us excited. Make us jump off the couch, clap, scream, hoot, holler.
Make me realize that I bought the Scorpio edition of the Xbox One X for a reason.
Ooh, man. All right. Well, I will tag Phil Spencer in this video, and maybe he will watch and write you a special note to his biggest skeptic and say, listen, you're nuts. We totally want Call of Duty exclusivity. You are crazy. And maybe he'll send me a signed Gears of War 4 Elite controller. One can dream. But thank you so much for partaking on this 40-plus minute adventure into all things Xbox. Maybe I'll see you for the PlayStation video. Maybe I'll see you for the Nintendo video. And for everybody watching at home, if you made it this far, good job. Do me a favor, like this video, comment on this video, and most importantly, subscribe if you have not yet already. We are on the march to 1,000. We're at 787 as of right now. We only need a little bit more than 200, which isn't all that bad. Really.
That's right.
We're close. Then we could monetize this video and start counting those dimes live. We'll do live streams. We will count the pennies, count the nickels that we get from amazing people like you. As always, I want to thank you guys so much. Rachel, thank you once again for joining me upstairs. As always, get out there and hype your favorite press conference. And until next time, we will see you guys on the other side. Bye.
Bye.